and we'll see in that bid process. But if that is probably the only one that I would say looks really, really dicey because it happened just before. And hey, what was the intent of the brothers in doing that? I can call a spade a spade. I just don't hear anyone doing it with Joe Biden. Oh well, they're always making excuses, saying that, and no one wanted to investigate him or doing.
Can I ask a question to the people on the stage, including Abby, or maybe
I was going to ask how many people Trump watches. I just moved outside. Sorry.
I wanted to buy one, but I was going to ask the people on the stage: does anyone have an issue with presidents making money while in office? I don't. I don't care if Barack Obama made money. I never thought that was an issue.
I think the blind trust thing is a great thing, which previous presidents in recent memory have done. I think it's a great idea. I think it's probably a great idea for everyone in Congress too, but I don't think we'll get people to do it. But I think it's reasonable.
Did Jimmy Carter separate himself from his peanut farm? I don't remember, historically, Scott, maybe you remember.
But Trump has a blind trust. Hold on. Trump has a blind trust. So what Scott is...
He doesn't.
He has some kind of evidence.
He says that he basically said, I'm not involved in the businesses anymore. My kids are doing it. He's not a blind trust. He said that I'm just... So we have to take his word for it, which is, we have to take his word for the fact that he's just stepped away from the businesses, which, that he doesn't insult, and they don't say, hey, Dad, if we gave this person a sweetheart deal, this would be, if we did this possible. We just have to take his word for it, that there's no communications like that with the family, which is what he's at. That was his answer. I'm not running the business, I'm running the business.
So the exact thing is, you're right that he didn't put in a blind trust, but his business holdings and financial assets have been placed in an irrevocable trust managed by his adults, Don Jr. and Eric, alongside company executives. And it says daily operations and management are held over to the sons and executives rather than an independent arm, but he retains financial ownership and financial interests in his companies and real estate, meaning he knows what assets he owns. A true blind trust requires liquid assets to be sold off and managed completely independent third party without the official's knowledge criteria. It also says that it's very difficult to get those assets back once it's in a blind trust. Very difficult. And if you're setting up generation, this is something very important. If you're setting up generational legacy, it's very difficult to move things out of a blind trust into the generation after a certain period of time. So it could be that Trump says, hey, if I do this, then I'm screwing my generations and screwing my family. So, I understand what you're saying, that, hey, it should be a blind trust, but shouldn't his future and what he worked hard for before he became president, shouldn't that be protected as well, Scott?
He put it in an irrevocable trust, probably, like I was talking before about a self-settling spendthrift, which he's domiciled in Florida and probably did.
No, it's a revocable, not irrevocable.
It is revocable? Okay.
It's revocable. So he did it so that he can, because when he gets out, what's he going to do? And what's his kids going to do? I don't blame him for that, because, you got to do that. And you got to put it in that way. That's just the only way to do it, right? Look, if you do a blind trust and you're a younger good person, there's time to get out. But we don't know. He could die as soon as he leaves office. He could die while he's in office, right? And then what happens? Now you're trying to recover everything out of the blind trust, and you're trying to get it out, and that's a litigation for years, and you basically screwed your family. You can't do that.
Yeah, presidents should be able to make money. I don't see any reward for Saudi Arabia or Qatar that's you know what, they out here just living a great life because of Trump. So, I'm sorry.
But hold on, but Scott, if you did do that...
Oh, that wasn't Scott, that was Amari. But
No, I know, Amari, I agree with you, but I was just addressing Scott, that, Scott, if you did do this plan that you're giving here, right, then you'd end up with presidents doing what Bill Clinton did. And with Hillary Clinton, which is, hey, let me set up a charitable foundation, let me screw the people of Haiti, and let me get as much money as I can, let me do as much shit as I can, let me trade speeches that I'm giving you because I was a famous president. Hey, let me have Barack Obama come and speak over here, the current sitting president. Let me have the former president come over. Hey, give me money, foreign countries, give me money, right? And now you're basically sharing former secrets, current secrets, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's actually tonight, in my view, shadier because I mean, you know what you're doing. And look at the Clinton initiative now. No one invests. Why? Because there's nothing to gain from them. Because they're nobody. So that just tells you right there that the whole purpose of it was bad. Trump didn't do anything. He didn't go and knock down the doors, take him out, nothing. It's just nobody invests anymore because they go, hey, they're useless players. We're not going to gain anything from it. So it's clear they only invested because they thought Hillary Clinton was going to become president and they wanted to curry favor with her in policies. That should be illegal. And she was Secretary of State, by the way, and didn't shut it down. She wasn't forced to shut it down. You're saying that Obama, as president, allowed his vice president to get his brother to get contracts, trading, basically saying, hey, I'm doing construction work, and he allowed his Secretary of State to get investments from foreign countries to an initiative that her husband is running, which has her name on it, that she can see and didn't put in a blind trust or anything. And you okay with that, Scott?
No, I'm not okay with any of that. Look, I think that there's a lot of issues with influence. I think that a lot of this stuff is a problem. Absolutely.
So investigate Obama and remove his pension as a former president, and you can still.
If there's evidence there, go ahead and investigate it. Yeah. No problem. No problem. I think we need more transparency, not less. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Naveen, how do we do investigations when this is what's floating around right now? Catherine Herridge has just released that the media willfully ignored the accusations of bribery with the Bidens before he was president and also during his presidency. This stuff, these files just came out that the media just willfully ignores this information.
Well, Joe, one thing I just want to say is I hope she has like a bodyguard or something. I really do. I'm hoping she has one because I mean she's going down dangerous territory, and some of these people on the left are going to go nuts, and some of these media people are going to go nuts. I mean, the fact is she's reporting things that are accurate, but you know the problem we're having here is we were lied to by the media. And by the way, Scott, I remember you on this app making comments about the case with Trump, with the documents case, and I was saying to you that, you know, I'm pretty sure the Biden administration was behind it. And then afterwards, when they came out and said, no, you know, there's no evidence of it, and I think in a room you fact-checked me again, saying a couple times, saying, you know, there's no evidence. Well, you should read it. Now there's evidence that Merrick Garland coordinated with the White House. They knew the time, the place, they knew Walt and Nalta, they knew the other things that were there. In fact, there was the White House who said you should go after Walt Nalta. So that means that he was actually doing exactly what they're accusing Trump of doing. And, you know, but because the media deceived you, you didn't know.
Evidence in the link. I will read it. Put it in the chat.
Yeah, Joe, can you put it? I'm just on the go, but, you know, you saw that article, so just put it.
Yeah, look, I'll bring it up. I'll make my point here. This is all chicken shit about the Trumps when it's legitimate business that they're doing. It is what it is. However, we have the Biden crime family that there's files that Catherine Herridge is discussing that the media willfully ignored reporting on any of this. So how are we ever going to get to it? It took a Republican oversight committee to even dig into what was happening during his vice presidency with the bribery going on. So making all this accusations about Donald Trump, it seems like they're playing, like the media and people are playing cover for it. It's wrong. It's overall wrong when straight blackmail is going on to the highest office in the nation. And I'll put the information up there.
I'm just posting the New York Post link right now. I can't wait for Scott to apologize because there is evidence. And, you know, I remember him saying that to me, and I was a little bit upset saying that there's evidence. And it even says Biden White House coordinated on the raid of Trump's Mar-a-Lago and then took the convo offline, ex-DOJ official said under oath. So, yeah, interesting. Poor Scott.
Y'all need to get Scott when he's in Gary's room.
Scott's a good guy. I appreciate Scott.
Hey, Scott, when you give me...
Are you guys ganging up on the one person in the room
Make
that
sure
is the disagreeing voice again?
No.
Because that's what you were doing with me earlier.
We're not coming after you.
And the problem is that it
we don't
becomes
disagree
very
with Scott.
exhausting.
I'm not a big Trump supporter anymore. What's going on?
We don't disagree with Scott. Hey, go Birds, Scott, right? Do we agree?
Exactly.
Maury, you're not a Trump guy?
We're not picking
Yeah,
on.
not like I used to be. No.
He's a good guy. We're not picking on Florida. We're good, man.
Well, I wasn't given that. I wasn't given that level of fucking credibility and respect earlier.
That was me.
Hold on, I'm shouting.
You were talking. I just spoke, and I feel like this is a mischaracterization. I have not directed anything at Scott. I'm talking about Joe Biden. I'm just joining in on a conversation here. Florida, why do you hold all this like animosity towards us when you could just join in the conversation and not be so emotional about it?
Well, that's what I do. Like 98% of the time, I just engage in a hopefully honest and genuine conversation. The problem that I have today with the room, Joe, is that it's been like extremely uncharacteristically dismissive and disrespectful towards like the one or two dissenting voices on the stage. And what we've witnessed today, or what I've experienced today, for lack of a better term, colloquially rather than explicitly, would be like a gangbang of effects, where like I would say something and then it would get Norm and Pepe and Abby and others, several others typically, to like all kind of chime in and start like chiming in and going after me at once, rather than giving me like an honest and fair shot at dealing with everybody one-on-one. I'd be happy to take on the stage as long as I have the opportunity to engage with everybody on the stage one at a time. But it does become exhaustive when you have to deal with everybody on the stage at once. It's kind of like a man versus mob sort of situation. And the man never has a chance against an entire mob. But if you let the man deal with the mob 1v1, you never know. Maybe that man fucking knocks everybody out.
You're in the wrong room.
There's a movie. Wasn't there a movie like that from the 80s? I forgot the name of it. I gotta find
It sounds like it should be a movie.
Yeah.
And it's only how they deal with you, Florida. Why don't you see that as you? Florida, it's only you. Why don't you see that as a reflection of you?
Because I scare people out here, obviously.
No, it's the intensity, it's the aggression, it's the
There's
domination.
people that disagreed, and I was going, I wouldn't say I wasn't fighting with anybody, but I was, holding counter positions to people. I think, if I recall, when you came in, you got really aggressive, and then you started yelling at Abby and like demanding that she answer your question. And
She
all
said
of
she was going to answer my
I think
question.
at one point you called her a whore. I'm pretty sure. Wow.
Pepe, she said she was going to answer my question,
And
and she never did.
I answered it via my state, which I was familiar with.
No, you never
And
answered the
then,
question.
then we had
You still
Naveen
to this
answer
point
it
haven't
based
answered
on
the
his
question.
state. And
No, none
I
of you
gave
answered the question. What was the question I asked?
You asked the percentage of DSA people that are either elected or running for office in the United States out of the Democratic Party. That was
And what was the percentage that you gave me?
And I knew in my state how many, and then Naveen was able to share what he knew in his state.
What was the
involved in our
percent?
state's politics. Hey, Kitover's in
What
here.
was
Do you
the
know
percentage?
in Illinois the
What
amount?
was the percentage that you gave me?
Yeah, but that's the point. You
You
wanted her
never
to do
gave me a
math.
percentage.
Yeah, but
So
you
why
want
did she have to do the math for you?
I
Why
know,
can't you
that-
go search it out?
She didn't
You
have
seem
to.
think
She
that
could
there
have
is a
stayed
reason
cute on
the next
mute.
day.
Nobody asked her a question. The question was posed to Joe. Joe had already had a Gemini conversation open. Joe had already made the claim that there were over 210 some odd fucking DSA candidates that were like running for office or something to that effect. And my question to Joe was like, what percentage of candidates does this actually represent in both like the national and the smaller scales that he had mentioned? And the question was posed to Joe specifically because he had already had the Gemini conversation
open. Room and insist. Instead of doing a simple search, you would have known in 30 seconds if you just went and figured it out. You wanted somebody to spoon feed it.
Joe already had the information open, so I wanted to know based on the numbers that he was providing with the Gemini conversation that he had already procured.
Oh, hold on.
Really
You know what?
offended by this.
All right.
No, not by you, by Abby. I'm more offended by Abby.
I was driving at the time. Wasn't I driving?
Jesus Christ.
All right, look.
In 100
If you were driving, then why did you come up?
Look.
Timothy, hold up.
Right.
I just rehashed this to tell you how, like, you just came in hot, and we don't need to have this fight over this again. And you're just, today, for whatever reason, you're just animated and like, getting worked up, but more so than usual. Really, it was just about the tone and your energy. It had nothing to do with shit you were saying.
Well, again, when the question was posed
Hold on.
to Joe,
Hey, let me try and address what you're discussing here. It's just statistics. At the end of the day, your question doesn't really have, are you talking about every political position? Because I was listing from mayors, city council members, all across the thousands and thousands of cities and counties that we have across America. I've already stated that it's only in 39 states do they even have positions. I already stated that there are more coming up, 35 that have won nominations in this cycle for 2026 midterms for Congress. So I went through the numbers. So when you say, tell me the percentage, tell me the percentage, like of what? Of the Democrat Party, of which one is it? Because not every position is up in the midterms either.
right?
So he wants you to take the 212
Hold on,
and
Mark, real
divide
quick.
it
Hold
by
on, Mari, I don't need help. I got this.
The point of where you don't have this is you don't actually address a topic. You don't address the point. I made a point, and you never actually respond to the point. If you want to make a point off the percentage, just say it.
No,
Why do you have to lead me down some primrose path by asking questions? Just say what your point is.
I got you, but I didn't, and this might sound clubhouse retarded, but I didn't have a point. I was genuinely curious. Okay, you said there were 200 and some odd total. You said there were 30 some odd across 39 states. And let me repeat my question again. And I thought I'd preface, hold on, I don't need any help here real quick. I prefaced the question when I asked it. I'm genuinely curious. Don't mean to be leading down a primrose path. Don't mean to be asking leading questions. I'm just genuinely curious because, like, it might make a difference in the totality of the grand scheme of things. What is the percentage of the total Democrat politicians, nominees, elected officials, specifically amongst Democrats, though, when compared to other total Democrats? What's the percentage of the DSA candidates and nominees and elected officials?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
I know you couldn't.
How many total Democrat politicians are on?
Joe, that's why I wanted you to just plug it into your Gemini.
There's no way for me to know this.
He already curated the Gemini chat.
Can I talk? Okay. If we go back to that segment, and we shouldn't land too long on this, we had a great conversation going on before you came in here and rudely interrupted us. I literally told the room the actual prompt I put into Gemini. I said what it was, and you clearly could have done that yourself. When I give you what the prompt is, I know Gemini is free, and you can use it and do it yourself. Why didn't you?
Because you had already curated a conversation with Gemini that had given you numbers, etc. And all I was asking you to do was to simply ask one follow-up question. What is the percentage of the Democratic Party do these DSA candidates represent? And it wasn't, I mean, I could have, yes, but the problem really became a problem for me when Abby thought that she was going to come off the mic and say, let me answer the question, and then proceeded to go on a monologue and never mention a single number, nonetheless a percentage.
I mentioned my state.
Wait. How would you have known if the number's right?
She never mentioned any number.
No, but how do you know what Joe's telling you is right if you're not going to look it up yourself?
I would have taken him at his word because I believe Joe to be an honest arbiter. I would have trusted him.
Joe just.
All right.
We have many,
Oh,
there are many
Yeah,
positions.
hold on.
There
I
are
know
many
that- hold on.
positions throughout the,
Nah, bro.
there are many
Hold on,
positions.
Abby,
Do you want me to
I know
answer
you
this?
want to respond. Hold on.
Okay, this is what he's trying to do. Is get in here, himself, control the conversation, talk about it. Just know what the issue really occurs here with him is that he doesn't really want to have an honest conversation with us about it because Abby was responding genuinely about her life experience. Let me just finish. We have conversations. She was genuinely giving her take on what it's like dealing with in her state and how many DSA members have won nominations and are slowly taking over the Democrat Party, and she's giving an account of it. Okay, so
She said, quote unquote, a lot.
She's adding to the conversation. Okay, you're not adding to the conversation. You're just trying to fight with us because you want to prevent the conversation from happening. I feel.
She shouldn't have said she was going to answer the question.
And with that said, Joe said it well. That shit dead, man.
Thank you.
She should have never said that she was going to answer the question.
Y'all talk about this shit for the last 15 to 20 minutes, bro. That shit dead, man. Get back
Thank
to the
you.
topic, bro.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to hear that shit no more. Respectful.
What's more important from it is the issue that they exist and that they're coming to a school board or a mayoral position or a state legislature near you. That's the point we were trying to make. And what's also important to note when you try to get the statistics is we have many positions that are not, that people run nonpartisan. It doesn't mean that they're not part of it, but they don't declare a party when they're running. Including our district attorney, our mayoral
Yeah, most
positions.
states are that way.
Can I finish? So it's sometimes a hard number to distinguish because the actual person in office has not declared a particular party, even though you know that they came from the Democrat or the Republican Party initially. However, I was giving my anecdotal,
Yeah, but
what I
DSA is
experienced in my
specific.
state, what I experienced in my state,
DSA
how
means
they
that they're a member of that club.
how they had taken over our state Democratic committee and the issue that our federal representatives had with them controlling the state Democratic committee and what transpired. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about our state house and the
I
ones
know
we're
you were
dealing
talking
with.
a lot of hoopla, but you never answered the
the-
question that you said you were going to
issue-
answer.
The bigger issue is that they exist. Thank you, Timothy, for letting me say that.
Let's move on.
The bigger issue is that they exist. That is some Nazi rhetoric right there. Look, it's not that
I want to say something.
it's not that the Jews are here. The bigger issue is that they exist.
Timothy speaking. Come on, Porter. Timothy, go ahead. Set the topic, Timothy. Go for it.
All right, man. So, honestly, I'm at work right now, man. I've been listening to y'all conversation, man. It's been a good conversation until for the last, I'm going to say 15 to 20 minutes where we somehow centered Florida heavy. So, I don't really have too much to say. I just want to continue listening, but that shit dead, man. Talk about something else, bro.
Go ahead. Go back to your echo chamber.
Can we
I
talk
will
about the election
retreat.
fraud?
So,
Can we talk about the election?
so real quick, Naveen, I put the number in the chat for the Florida. I hope that should answer the question. There's only 4 running. That's 0.92% out of the 435 members.
I appreciate you, Omari. Thank
no,
God
that's not
for Omari.
I can't believe we can't get off this. That wasn't even the point I made. We talked about throughout all of the country. Okay? And that's not what the percentage is in relation to the conversation we had. You weren't here, Omar.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I brought this up. I answered him why he thought we were just being argumentative because he had a so-called different point of view, but like I did not think we were going to rehash this.
Let's talk about election fraud. Let's talk about election fraud. Okay? Is that
So coming to a state near you, so we could talk about all different states and the voter rolls and the election
Yeah,
fraud.
because I was told, because Abby, I was told, or anyone on this app, I was told before, Donald Trump is delusional. In fact, I think Florida and others said it too. There's no evidence of voter fraud. I said, and I did this whole room where she went after me and was making all these comments. I said, the biggest problem is the registration. There is no registration issue. You're shouting and all that. There is no registration issue. I said, there is. There's these people, if they were registering, wouldn't they have found them? If they were, I said, no, dude, you're telling me that people register, and I said, yes, and I went through it, and I said, the solution is to upload and force them to have to upload proof of citizenship so that in the back end it does it. He said, there's no evidence, provide me evidence. I said, it's there. Well, see, you can't provide anything. Now there's evidence, so I'm waiting for Florida to come and say, hey, you guys are right. There is evidence that this is being done. I'll wait. Let me get off talking. We have witnesses, so go ahead.
It's a problem, though. People are.
Wait. Florida needs to admit that he was wrong and that there is.
We've got to admit there are people that are registered to vote in 2 states, which is a problem. Namely, Jared Kushner. He was registered in New York and New Jersey.
Actually, I must say I am guilty as charged. Coming from the great free state of Florida, now living in the Tejano state of Texas, I am guilty of being registered in 2 states at the same damn time. The issue is, hold on, Naveen, I haven't finished. I haven't finished. No, stop deflating. No, you're scared now. You're scared. Stop being scared.
I said illegals being registered.
No, so let me
Answer.
I myself no longer live. Yeah, let me explain. I myself no longer live in the state of Florida. However, the state of Florida has not yet cleaned up its voter roll to take me off of it. What does that have to do with
Here's the thing I think that
this guy goes nuts when Abby doesn't answer his
I'm
question.
illegally registered in Florida because the state of Florida hasn't taken me off of their vote. Voter roll.
Registered. Illegal resident.
Can we not just yell, you guys? We're yelling. Let's not do that. This is not
I mean, it's ridiculous when the guy
Bill,
tries to make
I got you.
and chastises Abby for not responding to this
I got
question.
it.
I say illegals, and then Scott gaslights by saying people register in 2 places. I said there's proof that there's illegals who are registered, and then they gaslight. I mean,
I'm not
it's gaslighting.
gaslighting. I was making a joke.
Let's go.
Right, so what about illegals?
Let's not go. Just go to up, guys.
I would just say this. I wasn't gaslighting you. I was joking. If you felt gaslit, if you're tender, I apologize. I thought the conservatives were this wrong stuff. I gaslighted. I never really gaslit someone. So, okay,
When you're trying to say that Jared Kushner did it, and you're trying to
I
compare
was
that to
kidding. I was
illegals.
kidding. I didn't know you were tender. I'm sorry. I was kidding. I apologize. I apologize.
You apologize. Let's move on.
About illegals. Undocumented folks. It's demonstrably proven that undocumented folks have a lower crime rate on average than natural born citizens. Lots of studies about it, which makes sense, right? If I'm here illegally, okay, I don't want to roll a stop sign, right? Because I'm enjoying making the money and I don't want to get sent home. So you're saying I'm watching my nose so that I don't get caught. But I'm so politically active and so motivated. I'm gonna go commit that crime when I'm trying not to. I'm gonna put myself on the radar doing that. I think that's spurious, but maybe it happens. But I just just don't think people that are trying to stay off the radar and in the shadows are going to say, oh, you know what, well, let's fucking go leave the register vote. I don't think that's going to happen a lot.
But I have a problem with borders. Like the free state of crossing the border illegally already sets you up as a criminal. Start with. The free state of Florida claims to be very responsible and due diligent over their voter rolls. I haven't lived in Florida for 3 years, but for some reason I'm still registered in the state of Florida to this day, and I'm getting text messages from James Fishback's campaign as a result of it. And if the Republican Party, I'm getting text messages from the campaign. Stop. The James Fishback campaign is saying, hey there, Mr. Florida man. I know you're a registered libertarian in Florida. Today is the last day for you to register as a Republican to vote for me. And it's like, wait a second. How is James Fishback getting my phone number if I'm not supposed to be registered to vote? I shouldn't be registered to vote because the state of Florida is supposed to be responsible enough to take me off of their voter roll because I no longer live in the state.
For the same reason that I get messages about people in Pennsylvania that are running, and what exists as stats and history within the state party, and what lists are being given for now text messages, or used to be snail mail. It's completely different than I asked you, did you receive a ballot in the mail? Because, by the way, Naveen, I was in that room also with you when he said all this, and he called me out also, because our voter rolls, we removed 160,000 names off them, and I was talking about how we had people registering at the DMV and getting mandatory ballots in the mail, and and they were non-citizens, and he didn't believe me. I was in the room as you with him.
Why hasn't Florida done the same thing? And if they have, why haven't I been removed from the voter roll? Is it because I have a white name and I'm a citizen?
So Florida, I think, and I'll be very honest with you, I think you're misunderstanding. So there's campaign lists, and those campaign lists, you don't know how old they are.
No, he's pulling this from the registered voter
list. Is that what he's
list.
saying? How do you know that?
Because he said, I know you're a registered
Because he
libertarian.
didn't say as of today, you were there at one point as a registered libertarian. I'm getting text messages from the old town I live in, Canada.
Wait, I could look this up right now, couldn't I?
You could.
I won't dox myself, but I promise to answer. I solemnly swear I hold an oath to honesty and transparency. I'm gonna look up my name and my info right now, and I will let you know if I'm registered.
Does Florida send mail-in ballots to every voter?
No, so that part would be irrelevant right now to the point of the conversation, Abby, because I'm not worried about. The conversation isn't about whether or not I'm getting a voting ballot. It's about whether or not I'm registered still. I haven't lived there in 3 years.
But that wasn't my question. Does Florida send a ballot to every voter?
No. Florida, I'll be your third-party verification for sure. No, like I said, I'm not going to dox myself, but I promise, if I'm not registered, I will say I'm not registered. Yeah, but I never betrayed.
Beaver's crazy.
Leave it to Beaver.
Well, if you don't live there, how would it be doxing yourself? You can just scroll down.
Because it would still have my name, my middle name, my last name.
Are you ever
It
gonna
would have the address that I used to live at.
Hey, Florida man, are you ever gonna change the Texas name?
No, I can't. You can take the man out of Florida, but you can't take the Florida out of the man.
So I'm confused. Did you register to vote in Texas?
Yeah, of course I did. It was one of the first things I did within the first 90 days of me living there.
And have you voted in Texas since you registered to vote?
I did. Multiple times.
Did you vote for Trump in 2024?
I did, unfortunately.
Did you notify your county about deregistering? You're supposed to do.
No, I never notified the county or the Secretary of State or whoever oversees all of it. I never reached out to the state of Florida proactively and said, hey, I no longer live here. You register me. That's not supposed to be my responsibility.
Change your driver's license to Texas?
Yes, I have a driver's license. I have all of the fucking legal things necessary to live in Texas. And I haven't lived in Florida for 3 years.
How many people live in Florida?
I understand it. I'm still looking it up. I haven't gotten there yet.
I think it's hard to clean the register. I think they do it, like, don't they do it, like, so often, especially around census time? I don't think they have, like, some AI system that actually says, oh, Florida man left yesterday, let's go ahead and remove him off the vote. It doesn't work
Well,
that way.
according to Republicans, it's supposed to work that way. They're supposed to be auditing and checking in every once in a while and being like, hey, does this person still live here? And if not, we should be taking them off the voter roll.
It's exactly what happened in my state. It took a while to finally get a Democrat Secretary of State to clean the transit. Actually, it doesn't happen automatically. We push for it.
You're chopping up. Yeah, you're chopping up. I think I understand what she said, but imagine, right? Like, you know, if someone moves tomorrow to, let's say, Maine or somewhere, right? I can imagine it's gotta take years for the system to, for someone to actually go in there and catch up. That would be amazing if they were able to do it in real time. I hear what you're saying, Florida, but I just don't see it working that way. But to Abby's point, did you receive a ballot? And that's where you start to ask yourself.
The state of Florida doesn't proactively send out ballots to everybody that's registered to vote. So no,
So that makes
I
it a
didn't
safer-
receive a ballot.
Right, so it makes it a safer voting system than a system where everybody gets a ballot regardless of where you. And then now.
I agree with that. I think sending out ballots ad nauseum, point blank period, to every single registered voter is kind of an insane thing to do. Number one, it's a waste of paper at the very least. And at the worst case scenario, it does open you up to the opportunity for like John Smith's dead or like late granddaughter to fucking vote on his behalf. It does open up the opportunity for some other guy named John Smith that may have somehow accidentally received John Smith's ballot to vote on his behalf thinking that it's for him. Like, I understand how these things can create a problem, so no, I'm not okay with the state just sending out these ballots ad nauseum.
Yeah, let's get a new speaker. How about Monica? Would you like to share?
Either Monica or Ian, any of you so you.
Oh, I want to say, my dad passed away in
No, voter status active.
and we received.
My voter status is active. Libertarian Party of
Just
Florida.
kick this guy.
So we received a mail-in ballot, the last year after he passed away, for him to vote. And, I mean, and I really hope that article, can really have that goes into place. Because, like, Florida's best, so we can easily, I could have opened it, just put a check by Trump and just mail it right back. They wouldn't have done any different. It's weird that you still received a mail-in ballot, right?
I didn't receive a mail-in ballot. However,
My dad.
oh, gotcha. James Fishback is using the active registration information. I'm on the registration.dos.florida.gov website right now. I typed in my name and my birthday, and it gives me the old address that I registered on April 1st, 2011. Active.
But as a citizen, you also have responsibility as a good steward of this country to also notify them to say, hey, I'm no longer there. Like, come on, people. You want the government to do everything for you?
They'll usually take them off yourself if they see that you haven't voted in your district in 2 federal elections. It's a federal law. It happens, I was an elections inspector for almost, I don't know now, maybe 16 years, and there are times where people come to vote and they're just not in the voting, they're not in the poll book. And you have to call, I have to call the Board of Elections, I have to call my commissioner will check, and that's usually what happens. So what they do is they wipe, and they follow like this procedure. So first it has to be, it's usually a period of 4 years. So if you haven't voted, it's that's why it's important to vote in your midterm, your special elections, because as long as you're active voting, then you're fine. But what will happen is they can't just remove you for not voting, period. But what usually happens is it'll be a period of at 4 years, and they'll send you some sort of like confirmation, like confirm that you still live here if you haven't voted, and if for some reason they have some idea to believe, they'll just remove you. And I can't tell you the first
That's
election
just
for
state.
presidential
That's not federal stuff.
no, it is federal. It is federal. It, hold on. It is. The 52 USC. Go look it up. It is. Don't tell me. I was elected
52
to
USC.
it is under the National Voter Registration Act. Yes, it is.
Yeah, but be fair. Hold on. And follow the. You don't have to dodge.
I'm still incredibly pleased about border security. We saw a devastating impact of an unofficial open door policy to our country. I am okay with ICE rounding up illegal immigrants and sending them home. I think we don't know who's in our country and we should be aware and alert to them. And if they're really here because they want to become American citizens, there are people in line who've done it the right way that should be preferentialized over those who didn't.
But Monica.
What do you think, Monica, about? Oh, I'm sorry, Jane. Hi, Jane. Welcome up. Go ahead, Jane.
Hi, Bima.
Oh, good. I was asking.
I was just wondering, what keeps you up at night, Monica? What prevents you from getting? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bima.
So, would you, Monica, be open to still maintaining the system that we have for becoming a citizen, but then also a registration process and identify, to identify people coming into the country that can just come in and then we register them right away. There's no force. They could come. They can't participate in elections or anything like that. And then,
Consent, though, to them coming in.
what was that, Joe?
If I don't consent to them coming in, though.
Well, the problem is the country is ran by we the people. So if you don't consent and I do consent, who takes priority?
It's the majority rules. Okay, got it.
Right.
So
we have a state.
I have an answer for you, Big Mike. Charles Krauthammer, before he died, he did a PragerU video and he talked about the
PragerU video?
I activated Pepe. I'm sorry, y'all. Did not mean to do that. So he talked about the illegal residents here that have been here for quite some time and that are contributing members of society, and that we should review them on a case-by-case basis and not offer them citizenship, but offer them permanent residency. And because, and we've seen with the Supreme Court, the dirt right citizenship has been validated, their children will be American citizens. And so that would resolve the conflict. I know that was
Yeah, when faggot retards say that these are jobs that Americans just are not interested in, that's what a faggot retard says. I know lots of Americans that would be interested in working at a high quality pizza restaurant